The Hate Bit Podcast is on the air one more time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the program. You are watching the longest running, or at least one of them, running podcast on the topic of video games and entertainment in your life, in your history, forever and ever. Amen. With that having been said, I don't fucking like any of you, but we're going to roll through the show anyway. Why do I not like you? Because I know you. But that having been said, I am your intrepid host, Yell Chaos. Joining me, as always, two of the greatest shooters in the business. To my left, Mr. Alpha Omega Sin.
Go watch John Wick 2. Just watch John Wick 2. I don't give a fuck what you're doing. You can even skip out on the fucking podcast. Just go watch it. But naturally come back and then tell us how much you hate us and you think we're faggots and all that shit. Oh, wait, no. You guys will have to do that on other podcasts and other shows to really do it because you're fucking sackless wonders. Anyway, welcome.
Yes, and over to my right, the man, the shooter, like I said, and the excellence of elocution, Mr. Razor Fist.
Yeah, let's keep that fucking double standard going. And as I was saying before the fucking show, people fucking want to hold us to some crazy high standard. Why don't you go head on over to the fucking Two Best Friends Play podcast? You'll see more belly laughs and a fucking suicide bombing. I'm Razor Fist. Let's fucking do this.
Goddamn right.
Goddamn right. Fuck you.
I love how aggressive he is. How did you get rid of the facial hair and become more aggressive?
Because my facial hair is a product of laziness. And
oh no, the product of laziness is this mess.
That's what I wondered. Did you shave like on the second level of the Hate Bit Tower and then it just fell on Alpha Omegason's face?
Yeah, he was just sitting there with fucking glue stick all over his face. It was pretty gnarly.
It was a good. I was making a good killing on that corner that day. Just so happened that the weather wasn't quite right, but you know what? I decided to stick with it.
Can I just say, to open before we get into the video game shit that I was seeing? They want to censor fucking Huckleberry Finn again on the fucking.
Look,
bridling at politically incorrect verbiage in what was it, 19th century fiction? Huck Finn is jitaing down Jim Crow country with Shaquille O'Neal. What the fuck do you think's gonna break out here? An a cappella rendition of "We Are the World"? It's fucking. Could there be a more racist environment?
Here, Razorfist understands something, that white guilt knows no bounds at all. They're like, don't worry, we will make sure we clean up everything because we will be offended for you. And if you act now for the low introductory price of all the shit in the warehouse we can sell, we will water down even more stuff for you and you and you and put collars and chains around us. Everything will be great. Yeah, now we're even, right? No? Yes? Doesn't matter. We're cucks. Ha! Ha! Ha!
It'll be great. It'll be a great time for all. It'll set a new literary standard. So Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, N-word.
We coming for you, African American.
Don't tell me this isn't a great program. We discuss literature, motherfucker.
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, people of color.
If you keep talking like that, Hulk Hogan's going to get some sort of college grant, and he doesn't need any more money.
Now, for all the people who are wondering, this is how we celebrate Black History Month here on the Hate Bit Podcast. Just letting you know.
Well, we could celebrate it like on Kotaku, where we have white people who run a website that's all about Japanese culture who are telling you that things aren't black enough. So there's that. I mean, we are talking about a website whose standards are low enough that they're willing to go and say, I don't know, Sarkeesian's actually worth this shit, and Zoe Quinn is... Well, they don't talk about her Five Guys special of 5 hot dogs, a greenlit game that should never have gotten anywhere, and a couple editorial pieces that are fluffing loving fuck out of her more so than her on a fucking porn set. But hey, way to go, champs. Way to go.
That's why she has to wear the flannel flak vest, you know.
Well, it's all in language. That's why, you know, we have to censor the 19th century literature. I mean, for example, take it for instance. Sure, you blue-haired bitch. You can call it mansplaining, or you could say I'm a dude with a dick, And parting your legs on a bus ride in Phoenix in July is infinitely preferable to smashing your nads together and spending the next 16 minutes stewing in scrote sauce. All right? All about fucking language, you motherfucker.
It's true. It's true. It bothers me that I do like the term blue-haired bitch, but I want to start using that for bitches who don't even have blue hair, just so that they know who I'm lumping them in with. Like you there, blue-haired bitch. Part of the cavalry of other Tumblrites. Fuck off.
It's unfortunate because, you know, old ladies have blue hair too. So, and you don't want to bash the old ladies.
Except for the old ladies on the religious channel. They have purple hair.
The thing that makes me sad about it is typically when from afar, if I saw any kind of decent looking chick who had colorful hair and piercings, I was like, I'm going to go and totally rail the shit out of that. Now when I see it, I cross the fucking street as if I'm like some little fucking white kid who normally listens to Eminem and actually went to the hood for once. Like,
they fucking ruined it. Did hipster bitches not ruin it? And now they're running around in fucking biker jackets and bullet belts and shit. It's like, thanks, Gaga, you fucking cunt. Like, goddamn, used to be back in the day, if you were walking down the street and you saw some bitch with blue hair or something, you'd be like, oh, that chick probably listens to punk or metal or something. I could probably talk to her. Maybe I'd have a friend or something. Maybe I'd get her number or whatever. Nowadays, it's like, desist, fucking, you immediately whirl around in the opposite direction.
Dude, I think of when I was growing up, and I always thought girls like that, like, you know, being a little kid, they looked neat because they looked different from everybody else. And I like that. You know, I like that it was an alternative look compared to what everything else was out there. Nowadays, when I see it, I know what they are 9 times out of 10. And even the ones that aren't technically that, yeah, they've got little sprinklings of that shit here and there. There's a little bit of little fecal matter there. Not digging it. Not digging it at all. It's a disease. It's a disease, folks.
Yeah.
Thanks for just dragging the whole thing down.
I mean, had to.
And I do appreciate that. And don't forget to appreciate the Hate Bit Podcast by following us on your social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the Tumblr, apparently, on Instagram and all that good shit. You can find all that stuff and find out when we're going to dye our hair blue and all that nonsense. Yep. So, you know, and please do that.
On Twitter, you can enjoy me sharing out things like Ghoul. Go listen to Ghoul. They're good. So do that.
I don't know, man, because I've been telling people about Demolition Hammer on the Twitter, and they have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. So you might be lost too,
dude. I can post like the stupidest shit. It'll get over 100 likes. I post metal, I get 10. So I'm like, well, there's that. But you know what? That's not going to stop me because every so often there's a motherfucker who'll be like, "Thank you a lot because I just checked out something." And if you haven't seen, there's a certain gentleman who does some of the best fucking metal documentaries. Just so happens to be here with shaded glasses.
I don't know. Some faggot. Sounds like a dick.
I mean, you know, if you read the comments on everything else other than your own content, you'll definitely see the faggot everywhere because that word's inescapable. Because, gosh, them having balls, asking so much of people nowadays. Who's bitter? Not me.
Not a single person. And also, don't forget, if you have questions, comments, concerns, correspondence of any kind, please drop us a line at hatebitpodcast.
Before we move on, I think on that bitter note, we need to have Alpha do the bitter beer face first.
No, hold on. Well, I can have my watermelon and blueberry drink, and yes, I should have a white picket fence and should be banging a dude who makes way more money than me because I'm apparently a middle-aged woman.
There you are. I forget what beer company that was. Was that?
That was. I want to say that was Miller Lite.
Was it Miller? Really?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I just drink Yingling. Way better.
And any old men haven't had work in commercials. Yeah.
So long as I'm not drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, I think that I'm doing pretty good. No,
be advised. You have to like take out a loan to buy Pabst Blue Ribbon these days. Have you been to one of these fucking like these metal bars that you ask for a beer and they hand you a fucking tall boy of past Blue Ribbon, and they want fucking $7.
$7 for completely shit beer. I always question, like, how do people drink that or Corona? The shit just fucking eludes me.
I remember specifically, and this dude looked at me and said $7, and I said, how do you expect to do that without a gun? And he didn't know what I meant, but that's all right. That's all right. Anyway, with that having been said, like I said, you can drop us a line at hatepitpodcast@gmail.com, and today we actually have a little bit of viewer mail, so we're going right into you guys like this so much, so I'm going to acquiesce just this once. The 8-Bit Ball Bag is online, and we got a few questions here actually, so we're going to go through all of them as best we can. And if you sent us a stupid fucking question, however, well, we'll answer it, but I don't know if you'll like it, so be advised. You feel free to leave right now. Okay. So the first piece of mail here in the ball bag comes from Paul Edu, and Paul says, "Which Tekken game and Tekken intro is your favorite?" That's a very bold thing to assume that we would know anything about Tekken games, even though it comes up all the fucking time, and no one has any idea what that had to do with the presidential election. But it's none of your fucking business. If I could just tip off, I think my favorite is Tekken 3 on the PlayStation 1. I enjoy it very much.
I think mine was the one I played the most. I actually got a joystick and everything for my PS2 just to play it, was Tekken 5. I thought Tekken 5 was
Which
great.
one did you get? Did you get the one from Pelican?
I forget who made the goddamn thing. It just had the cover art on it. It was like
I was going to say, that was the bundle, wasn't it? It actually came with the game?
You know what? Yeah, I think it was the bundle that came with the game. I didn't get it in the bundle. I got it from like a local
I
shop
forget
or whatever.
who made that one, because there's so many arcade stick manufacturers, but I know what you're talking about. I personally am trash at Tekken when it comes to using an arcade stick. I don't know. I try, but it's like... But I know which one you're talking about. But
I needed it for other games anyway. I needed it for like the Alpha Anthology had just come out then, and I'm really, I prefer arcade stick on Street Fighter games and so forth. So I needed one anyways. But Tekken 5, man, I busted that shit up. I wore that game out.
I like that one because they included the other Tekken games with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me, if... because you figure at the time, it wasn't like they were digitally releasing those games, or they were re-releasing them because they were fucking ancient by comparison to, the current hardware at the time. But I thought it was nice that they had that. And that to me is, Tekken 3 has always been my favorite, but Tekken 5 is like the biggest contender for it because they are like on par with, they just nailed it the first time out and got that shit right out the gate. So I always debate which one I like more, because those ones, and I try to just forgive them for Tekken 4. I try. I obviously did, because I played Tekken 5 and I was like, wow, you made one of the best after that, because they're like, we like Dead or Alive. Well, how much do you like it? We changed the whole fucking game. Like, we yanked their fucking source code because a couple roofies and just right off to the races. And
and then they made Nina Williams in Death by Degrees. And,
oh god. I see that game every so often, and it's always like $1, and you just see like it should come with a couple of tumbleweeds, because nobody wants to get like, it's so depressing. Like, look at this. Even as a coaster, you feel like your drink could do better.
Yeah, you open up the DVD case, and it's just a great big picture of Nelson Muntz going, ha ha, right in your fucking face.
Wait, hold on.
There you are.
Way too high pitch. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. I feel bad because you know what? I like her character. I like her.
Yeah,
and
I do too. She's my main. I play her in everything. But they fucked it. It was like, hey, let's make a stealth game with the shittiest stealth you could possibly imagine, and let's make a fucking 3D beat 'em up with the worst possible 3D beat 'em up controls you could ever conceive in fucking life.
They had a beat 'em up based off the Tekken engine. Oh man, is it Beatdown Fist of Vengeance, or was it the other one?
Well, they got they included one with Tekken 6, right?
Yeah.
The one where you're playing as Kazuya? Something you're playing as someone, and
it's not him. It's that one dude with the really stupid fucking anime look. Like he looks like he got ripped from an anime, put into Tekken, which looks really fucking weird, by the way.
Yeah.
I know that he had like dumb fucking hair and a dumb outfit. He was good as fuck to control. It's just aesthetically he looked horrible. Like so horrible. It was him and that one robot bitch.
Yeah.
I forget, but she'd randomly just have chainsaw hands. Ash did it first, quit fucking taking his shit. Like, don't need any of that negativity in my life. But dude, that beat 'em up mode, I played it a lot, but it was fucking annoying. There was so many points where you can tell that they just kind of went, it'll work. It's an extra mode. Meanwhile,
conversely, like Guilty Gear had that adventure beat 'em up mode where it was basically like a 2D, like fucking old school beat 'em up kind of arcade game, and that was badass.
Oh yeah, that was in Guilty Gear Asuka.
Yeah.
Dude, that if for anybody out there, one, Guilty Gear is the fucking shit. If you ever need a proper fighting game, you can't go wrong with it. But in Asuka, that's honestly one of my more favorite entries to people complain about because you have to manually turn around. But I mean, it's a 4-player 2D fighter, so manually turning around would help, because if not, your character will just be like doing this a whole fucking bunch and it would get annoying. But that beat 'em up mode ended up they made a whole game based off it called Guilty Gear Judgment on PSP.
Yeah,
and it is good as fuck. But yes, Tekken. Oh wait, Tekken intro scenes. Fuck, Tekken 5 had a cool one. It was Heihachi and Kazuya. They were fighting a bunch of jacks, just a big army of jacks inside of a volcano. And I'm like, that's Tekken right there. Just like ridiculous shit. And then they cut to like all the other characters in it, including clearly not Wesley Snipes' Blade. And they even showed the fucking animal fighters and stuff. When you see a fucking kangaroo with boxing gloves coming towards the scene, and then a baby also inside, I'm like, Tekken.
What in the hell were they smoking near the end of the 90s when they're just like a fucking bear and a dude made out of wood and fucking what the fuck were they smoking, and where can I procure some?
Dude, there is some of their character like people. I've seen people bitch about certain characters like that's too over the top. It's unrealistic. And then I just slide in and I'm like, where have you been since 1995/6? Because Tekken's been ridiculous the whole time.
Yeah. Whole time. To quote Rupert Murdoch, not nearly enough.
Dude, look, I like the fact that they had that one little character from Gone, whatever, the little orange dinosaur. Then they had a polar bear, a panda bear. They had a devil. They had an angel. They have multiple fucking robots. Then they have the fucking robo waifu with fucking like chainsaws for hands.
Yeah, the dude with a cougar head.
Yeah. who runs an orphanage. King runs an orphanage. I'm telling you, that's one of my favorite things about Tekken. Their endings. So King's like a big mountain of a man, right? So he's there, and these kids like come up to his fucking knee pad. Yes, knee pad, not kneecap. His knee pad, and he's at the orphanage and he's hugging them, but he has this ultra realistic fucking like cat face and
a leopard head.
Looking around, and the kids are like, "Yay!" I'm like, "What the fuck am I watching?" It was just so fucking weird. It's like Christmas time, and you're supposed to be like getting warm-hearted feeling. No, I had confusion.
Well, where do you look? He has to run an orphanage. Where else is he going to get all that protein? I mean, come on. I'm just saying. You think a couple egg whites is going to do it for that motherfucker? You see how big he is? He is eating live babies. Don't you fucking fool yourself.
Well, I've seen the way that children get baptized. Sometimes they're just dunking them in like that. I like to think that he's doing the same things, but with like McDonald's sauce. Just doing like this, and he's just like, oh.
Fucking, he's got the au jus gravy from Arby's. He's just dunked.
Just like you know the soft spot on a baby's head. He just sticks his thumb in and treats it like a fucking bowling ball, and he's like, "There we go." It's a nice little handle. Of course, we were gonna take a Tekken conversation down a dark route. Don't act surprised. It was inevitable.
And you didn't pay to get in here, so don't give me any of that shit about a refund.
That's true.
But
Yay,
while you guys were strolling down that very, very dark pathway, I was actually doing something that I was thinking about. I was doing something nostalgically, actually. I was thinking about Tekken. The very first Tekken, the very first time I saw Tekken was a friend of my brother's. I don't know if I told this story already, but a friend of my brother's, his uncle was one of these dicks that just got a great job when he was like 20. So, and he's like living with his brother, so he has no bills, and all his money just goes to fucking video games.
Yeah.
And Dave got a PlayStation in like October of '94, imported from Japan. And he got Tekken with it, and we saw Tekken for the very first time. Tekken being played in it was all Japanese, and you felt like you were, I don't know if you've ever done the first time you ever played an imported games, like you're getting away with something like, oh, it's the Japanese. If they find out what we're doing, they're going to come and, you know.
My eyes are way too round to be looking at this.
Indeed. And just sitting through this whole thing and just, you know, again, feeling like you're getting away with something, and in no way did I think about a leopard eating children or anything like that. So
You're clearly not doing it right.
apparently not.
You remember when Tekken Tag came out and you'd go to the arcade and every motherfucker would be playing as that breakdancing asshole?
Eddie Gordo.
Oh,
dude, I used him just to be a dick. Because he's so fucking bullshit. Like, let's get something out of the way. When you're playing as him, like, I would hold the controller like this because it was easier to emulate like the button presses on an arcade machine, and like D-pad movements are easier than like the actual arcade save. But anyway, Eddie Gordo's shit was just like the easiest combo of stuff. And it's like high, mid, low, mid, low, mid, low, high, mid, low. It's so hard to stop, and you're just getting bounced around everywhere. It's terrible. Oh man. And then in tag tournament, it's worse because you have him do like a fucking 9-hit combo, and then bring somebody in, like bring in like Huarang or however you fucking say his name. But he comes in and he's got like the cheapest fucking combos. It's just like kick, 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 kick. It's just like one button the whole time, but it's a 1,000,000-hit kick, and then he knocks you into air. Bring Eddie Gordo back in, cheap it up again. So fucking ridiculous. You'll see people like punch you with a roll of quarters at that point. it's
yeah. I kept going there, and I'd always play as like King or Nina or some character that I liked, and somebody would always show up with Eddie Gordo. I'd get my shit pushed in every fucking time. So one day I'm like, fuck this. My best friend was fresh off the boat from Beijing, and they'd had this game for like a fucking year, I guess, bootleg. And so he was a demigod at Tekken Tag. So I literally go down to fucking Tilt Arcade, and I'm like, you destroy them all. My Chinese friend goes down there and he's like, yes, master. And there's like a line of 9 people. He just goes through them like Jim Sterling through a box of Thin Mints. It was fucking amazing. It was incredible.
That's one of those things where you can kind of just sit back. Like, if you can't beat them, get somebody that can beat them harder. Yes.
And not only that, the other lesson we learned is that Razor Fist is in fact a Green Hornet.
I have an attack Asian.
Dude, if you guys went down there in costume, that'd be the end of it. I'm like, you know what? I think we can retire the show. That was the best we can do.
Indeed, absolutely. There was an addendum to the question. Your main, who's your guy? Who's your fighter that you use most often in Tekken? Mine's King, because that's the first time. That's the thing I forgot to tell you about. Because that's the first time I ever saw a suplex in a fighting game, and I said, I must see more of this. I must. And I was the only one who knew what a fucking suplex was.
Yeah,
Dude,
which is strange. You'd think you would have played like Street Fighter 2. I mean, Zangief suplexes some motherfuckers, and
Yeah, but that's all. That's like fucking what, 12 frames per second. It's not really looks like a suplex.
I'm gonna point out that King has that ultimate combo where it's nothing but grapples, and it's 100% death if you pull it off.
Oh God!
At the end, he does that. It's like a fucking. He's just rolling you up. And you just hear like bone crunches the whole time, and then you, I love Tekken, and then you hear King going, rawr, rawr,
And was it
the whole time?
And to make it even worse, wasn't Tekken the one, or was it Virtua Fighter, where every time he would grab someone and a bone would crunch, there'd be like a little mini orange explosion?
Yeah,
like, on
it
the
was
character.
Tekken. Dude, well, they did that because it was like I always assumed that it was their way of getting around the rating system. Like, it's not blood. This is just an effect. Well, sir, that looks really similar to blood. No. It's like particle effects and shit. So you can't.
He
don't
just
bleed
shattered.
fireworks.
There's no two ways about it. He just shattered her cervix. So I think we're past the point of wondering if there'd be blood or not.
Dude, you have Yoshimitsu, who has a sword. He swings this shit through people. That's a special effect. Don't worry. That's not blood. Don't worry.
He's tearing a hole in time space.
Silver.
Fuck, man. My main for a while was Brian Fury. I had gotten good with Brian Fury. Had a good couple of pop-ups, and he had good ground control. I did like using Lee, but they end up changing his shit so many times I just couldn't keep up. Something that we bitched about on a previous podcast was them changing characters to the point where it was like, what the fuck?
Namco are the fucking worst with that.
Dude, they do it so much. But I again use Eddie Gordo, but he's easy mode. He's easy mode, and you only use him to be a dick. Like when you're angry with somebody, you use Eddie Gordo, and then they're just like, fuck you. And if you see two Eddie Gordos fighting, it looks like a Michael Bay Transformers fight. It's just this the whole time. Really? It just looks like a mess. It was terrible.
Absolutely. The phrase button mashing was literally invented for Eddie Gordo. Like, there's no two ways about it. Jesus Christ.
So you use Nina and King?
Yeah, I'm a Nina guy all the way. I do play as King a little bit, but that's about it.
Not bad characters. Not bad. I mean,
in Tekken 5, I used I can't believe it's not Wesley Snipes' blade too, a little bit.
Dude, was it the one? I want to say it was on PSP, but they brought in that one dude that looked like a vampire and a Nazi mixed together. I can't remember his fucking name though, but he was badass as shit to use in combat. Fuck, what is his name? He's not even in it like a whole bunch. I can't remember, but he was kind of cool. There's always characters I want to learn how to use, and I was too lazy, so I just went with shit I already knew. It was like, yeah. so Tekken. I like Tekken. It's good stuff.
Yeah, look, yeah. That was good. We move on to another piece of mail right here in the ball bag from Nathan Streety. Hello, Nathan. Nathan says, greetings to all the Hate Bit podcast. Well, hello to you. He says, I just started watching y'all. He does, in fact, type out y'all, which I...
Replete with apostrophe?
Replete, absolutely.
Wow.
He even pluralized y'all's, which y'all being a pluralization. Anyway, you didn't come here for that. Only a few months back, and I'm already a huge fan. I'm not sure how huge he really is, but that's aside from the point.
Huge.
He says, so keep up the good work. I was wondering, with the rumors of the Switch's eShop, the Nintendo Switch's eShop, getting GameCube games, what games are you hoping will come to it? Any games maybe you hope won't come to it either? I love that there's a notion of people that are thinking about games they don't want to come to a system. It's like, you know what? Fuck those people. There'll be no games for you. You know what? All you people that like, I don't know, puzzle games. Fuck y'all.
I mean, I heard about them talking up the whole GameCube games showing up on there, but I more or less wanted them to treat it like how they did with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and shit, where they did like from a ground up HD re-release. of these other games. I know some of them it's kind of impossible just because they're third party, so that's really up to them. But
well, at the very least, the remake will be on there. The Resident Evil remake will.
Yeah, well,
that's going to be, and it'll be the HD remix, probably the HD re-release.
They totally need to go and put that on there because that shit has been selling well, and I'm glad because it got us away from a completely action-oriented survival horror experience, which has no survival or horror. So it's just what it is. But
it was horrifying just for the wrong reasons.
They I don't know, man. F-Zero GX got me on my list because I know that it's developed by Sega, so they probably have to go to them for rights and all the other crap. But F-Zero GX is one of the best GameCube games. Let's get that out of the way. It's one of the best F-Zero games. It's one of the best racing games. It's one of the best Sega racing games. That is saying a lot because Sega is kind of that genre. But they did well with that. The original Luigi's Mansion would be an awesome re-release. I'd like to see that because I enjoyed that game a whole bunch. Maybe they could take some of the stuff to hit the cutting room floor and include it. That'd be something. What about you guys? Any GameCube games you'd like to see?
He's a Nintendo.
I was going to be a real dick and say Odama.
You know what? I like Odama a lot. That game was fucking cool as hell.
It's fun, but it's no good when you live in an apartment, when you got to shout at little men to move around.
That's what I was going to bring up. If they gave me the premise minus the microphone bullshit, I mean, it's a fucking RTS pinball game. Nobody would ever mix those things together, but they managed to. And it was very, very unique. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I mean, it's the best Paper Mario game that they've made to date. People piss and moan about the other entries in the series, which I still end up liking, but, everybody's a big bundle of fucking whining tampons. So if they don't get everything they want exactly how they want, they'll still complain.
Yep.
But Thousand Year Door, now that'd fucking rock. And Super Mario Sunshine should get a re-release. Granted, it's like the black sheep of the main core Mario series, and people kind of just like shit on it. But it's still a good game. If anything, just tweak the fucking camera a bit more, and competent ass game.
Yeah.
So those would be
one that I'm sure a lot of people really were after was Eternal Darkness, because apparently that game is hard to come by now.
It is. You know what? The only thing that pissed me off about it is was a Shadow of the Eternals, I think is the sequel that they're still trying to get off the ground. They've made a lot of the game, failed on Kickstarter. They went to Nintendo. Nintendo had no interest in it, despite the fact that it looks amazing. And Nintendo doesn't even acknowledge Eternal Darkness, like its existence. And I think it's weird because it was a unique game and it was a fun game. And there's really no other survival horror game out there that's quite like it. Even
what blows
today.
my mind is you look at some of the shit that's been kickstarted and that's gotten all the funding and more, and you're just like, what the fuck? We're like 5 years after when fucking Star Citizen should have dropped. And we're gonna, and seriously, the sequel to Eternal Darkness is gonna fail to get goddamn funding.
Dude, I did a video on it, and I figured, considering how much I've talked about survival horror and how much I've talked about Eternal Darkness, I was like, a lot of people should at least like be interested in this. That video did dick for views, and on top of that, like I still get people saying, "Man, it'd be awesome if they did like something with Eternal Darkness." I'm like, they are. Why don't you fucking pay attention? And like, I can't be bothered to do that. Like, it fucking kills me.
In their defense, you are making this bold, brazen assumption, such effrontery on your part, that YouTube actually works.
That's, yeah. I have. Well, this was Alpha Megasin of yesteryear. Nowadays, I'm just a cynical piece of shit, and I literally hate everything. Before you thought I hated stuff, no, I actually hate everything. If I could kill the entire world, no, I totally would. And then get Eternal Darkness sequel off the ground, yeah, it'd be great. But yeah, it sucks because we're not going to see shit from it.
You want to get the sequel off the ground before you kill the whole world.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I know.
But
myself. Patience. You have to be patient.
You know what? third-party offerings, Metal Gear Solid to Twin Snakes. Dude, you know what? Looking at the original Metal Gear Solid, it's fucking ugly.
This is like one of my Japanese animes.
I mean, you know what? It's if you look at remakes, they at least did it well, because they like, we'll just take all the shit from Metal Gear Solid 2 minus Raiden, so that's a plus, right? And they went and they cranked that shit out. And it doesn't really get a lot of attention despite how big the series is.
Isn't that funny? Like, the first two things that you've mentioned are both by Silicon Knights.
Oh fuck, they really, wow. And they're dead.
They're dead as fuck.
Yeah, how did Two Human do so bad that it murdered talent like that?
Good lord, I don't know.
Oh man.
So it murdered them so dead that when a few of the refugees left to try and make a sequel to Eternal Darkness, it was like, no, you too shall die.
Dude, you know what that is? They're haunted. Like, that's like, they're fucking haunted. Like, the Two Human, like, the case for it just hovers up above them like a specter, just whoa, whoa, like the ghost and Beetlejuice and shit whenever they were trying to scare
I know Kojima didn't like Twin Snakes. Maybe his hipster glasses are fucking haunted. Maybe that's what happened.
Dude, I had people tell me that they didn't like it, and when I asked why, I was like, well, this controls better and it looks better and it's got more shit in it. That seems like everything that I would check off my list of what should I do with a video game remake. They never had an answer for me. I'm like, okay. So it was just one of those things. I'm like, you know what, fuck it. And Skies of Arcadia Legends, that'd be awesome. If Sega would ever do anything with that, I'd be happy. Anything at all. Anything. Such a good RPG. I mean, you're air pirates, for fuck's sake. Like, that's awesome. You don't get too many RPGs with pirates in them, unfortunately.
No, you don't. Not really. Another game it's a game that's, I don't know. I understand it has its fans. I'm one of them. Custom Robo on the GameCube was a great title. A battle arena type game with sort of a strange narrative working underneath it. And interestingly enough, a lot of your what appear to be real-time fights, everyone just waits for you to come kick their ass. So there's that. Yeah. So I think that's good.
All that you got? Come on, you're the Nintendo guy.
Well, you know, I was gonna say what it's a series that never really got its due, and I don't know whose fault that is. It's always been a series, Battalion Wars. I'm a big fan of Battalion Wars, and real-time strategies like bug me the fuck out. So you know, I have to work on them piece by piece, which is luckily because Battalion Wars is kind of situated in sort of a mission-based type of structure. But I don't know what it is. I think they're great games, and most people have never really heard of them. And there was also Battalion Wars 2, which was on the Wii, and what here with the Nintendo Switch would be a great chance to release them too, supposedly maybe in a double pack, and it
would be.
You know what? That way.
It's strange that those didn't do well, but Advance Wars did.
Well, see, Advance Wars is turn-based, like Fire Emblem, so that's much easier to grasp. Because Battalion Wars, if you stop paying attention, you'll get your ass kicked every single angle possible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you think about an evolution of a lot of things, that kind of stuff ends up coming to mind. I just figured that a lot of people who were into Advance Wars were just going to transition, and it never happened at all. I don't know if it's because they thought.
I think that's what they thought too, and I think they thought that the marketing that had been done for Advance Wars would have carried over, but people are fucking dumb. You have to tell them things.
Yeah. You know what? I always wondered if it was the name that killed it. As fucked up and stupid as that may sound. If they called it Advance Wars 3 or some shit like that and just went with it, I don't know if I know that they're technically different games, but it's still the same fucking shit.
Yeah.
If people would have paid attention,
I would go. For my part, I would go with.
I don't know if
Fire
people lost
Emblem.
their fucking minds when they put the Metroid license on top of something that wasn't a Metroid game.
I
I
know,
don't know who they are. I might share a podcast with them.
I would go with, for me, I would go with Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. I like Fire Emblem, and I would like that very much. I like all the Fire Emblem games.
So would all the people who were forced to pay $150 fucking dollars for it. They'd love to get their hands on it.
No fucking kidding. So yet again, a great fucking incentive for bringing that over. I also like Harvest Moon. Yeah, I like Harvest Moon. Fuck you. And Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life would be cool to bring over to the virtual store or whatever the fuck. However the fuck they're going to do this backwards compatibility.
I'm always going to say, when everybody was playing Farmville, I was pissed because they didn't bother with Harvest Moon. Stardew Valley comes out, and I'm like, where were all of you for Harvest Moon? These games still exist.
Hold on a second. You just said Farmville. I'm stuck in a time loop to fucking 2012 all of a sudden. Jesus Christ. Where the fuck am I?
Hey, the 5 minutes that it fucking had to shine, you got every single person's mom and sister to go and play that game. You slide a fucking Harvest Moon game in front of them, they're just like, nah. And I'm like, but this is the same thing but better by a millionfold. Nah. Like, I'm gonna kill all of you. I really am. I am. And then I'm gonna go out with my golden hoe, no pun intended, and I'm gonna just work on my farm because I upgraded all my shit. God, I fucking hate it. But yeah, Harvest Moon would be good. It's I mean, what is it? Ikaruga, however you say it.
Ikaruga, yeah, the shooter.
Yeah, that one. It's such a good fucking game, dude, and it's expensive.
It hurts my eyes after a while. I have it, and it just, that mechanic of switching back and forth, the light, the dark, and the whole thing. It's my eyes start to invert, and I get lost, and I'm like, wait, I thought I was the bullet. Fuck,
dude, I like that because it was one of the shooters that I was just immediately good at. Most shoot 'em ups, I get fucking rocked like bad. Like, they're typically pretty difficult. There's some easy ones out there, but a lot of them just kick the shit out of you. That one I think is very approachable and would love to see a re-release of that, especially in glorious high definition. That'd be delightful.
To its credit, though, I mean, it looks good still.
Oh yeah, big time. Still
a great looking. I mean, I don't want to recommend a straight port because we know that the straight ports always end up being kind of fuzzy around the edges. But no, it definitely has a very unique look. It's a game that I noticed from across a room, and I said, "What the hell is that?"
And you know what? If all else fails with everything that we're discussing, we always have the Dolphin emulator.
This is true.
We do. And you know what? While we're on this bit of shtick, are there any games we hope don't come to the Nintendo Switch? Any GameCube games that just plain fucking can't be on there, or we will kill everyone with knitting needles?
I'm gonna look at my GameCube games.
I'm gonna be honest. GameCube had a pretty good library. I don't know.
Well, that's because it was pretty small.
Yeah, but they kept the quality high like Nintendo usually does. I don't know. I imagine there's some perverts who would prefer Star Fox Adventures didn't happen, mainly because they're mad that it wasn't Dinosaur Planet. Although I love Star Fox Adventures, I've never understood the hate. I still don't understand the hate.
The stuff that everybody bitched at me about with it. It's just a collectathon. So
that's what
the way I like to
3D
describe
platformer
it is. Yeah, the way I like to describe it, it's the okayest Zelda clone you've ever played.
I enjoyed the game. I liked it. You know what? Something that I want to like this game, and no matter what, there's just certain design choices about it that I think are annoying, and that's Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. I wanted to like that game. Even on the cover of it, they tell you, by the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog. Because they knew nobody was going to buy this shit because it had a stupid fucking name and a stupid fucking cover. And I like platforming games, but in this, you're just going around and rolling up eggs and shit the entire time and using them to get around from point A to point B. And there's certain parts of this that are very charming, and then there's other things you're like, why did you decide to do this? It made it so much more cumbersome. So it's, yeah, poor thing.
I'm going to say something controversial right now. I'm going to say it right now. A game that does not need to be re-released, I'm going to say it right now, is Mario Kart Double Dash.
Oh,
I've
I
never cared for it. I want to like it. I want to love it. I want to wrap it up and say this is great. And it's just, I mean, it very much strikes me as the archetype for what we now know as Mario Kart Arcade.
yeah.
You know, in that the design choices are slightly askew and all these things. It's just, it's not very likable.
No, I'm totally with you on that. I happen to think Double Dash is a fucking turd. Personally, I never liked the Double Dash gimmick. I never liked the idea of the fucking. I hated that fucking shit right from the first moment it was revealed. It was like everything. There were a lot of moments on the GameCube that were kind of like that, where it was like, "Oh, we'll give you a Donkey Kong game, but it'll be a rhythm game." You know what I mean? We'll give you a Mario Kart, but here's this tacked-on fucking Double Dash gimmick. You know what I mean?
You know what? That's
How dare you bring up Donkey Konga?
That's
so close yet so far. Oh, we'll give you Star Fox, but it'll be Assault. Little fuck.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a game that's almost good.
Oh, you know what? Fuck it. I know that they won't want to do it because they'll feel like it's taking a step backward, but if they re-release it, they'll make so much fucking money. It is guaranteed money if they do this right now. Re-release Super Smash Bros. Melee. Do it. That game is tournament play all the time, everywhere, anywhere.
Yeah.
People that don't even like Super Smash Brothers end up giving it a go. And I mean, that to me it'd be easy. And for all the Pokemon tards out there, re-release Pokemon Gale of Darkness. It's an actual Pokemon RPG that you're running around instead of like all the gimmicky ones. This is a full-blown role-playing game, complete with all the battles and shit. And I like that.
I've never fucking heard of this. I never heard of this game.
You've never heard of that one?
I never have.
Gale of Darkness. The major thing that they changed up in it is you're going up against people who were like going around, they're stealing Pokemon and shit, and you're trying to save them and all this other stuff. So you can take Pokemon from other trainers because they're dickhead thieves and shit, and they're like all shadow versions and stuff. I don't know. It's goofy, has a ridiculously stupid storyline. It's extremely forgettable, but it was a fun ass game because it was a Pokemon console RPG, and we really don't get that shit. We get in handheld form out the wazoo, but never that. And if they did that, I'd be pretty fucking happy. It'd be cool. I dig it, sucker.
Well, that's good.
I haven't like played myself.
Did I ever tell you I got to shout that at Booker T to his face?
No. How the fuck haven't you told us this?
I went to Judgment Day 2006, right? And I think it was Booker T versus... Who did Booker T fight at that fucking pay-per-view? Booker T and Sharmell versus... Was it JBL? Or did JBL fight Rey Mysterio? I can't remember. I did the same thing to JBL, by the way, right to his face. I just went, he was right, because I was right above the ramp, you know, when they leave. So when they come out, they come down the ramp, the main stage ramp. But when they go back to the backstage, at least at the arena that we were at, there's like this kind of side area, and there's sort of a side entrance, like off to the side of the stage. It's hard to explain. But like basically the crowd is right above it. And so we were right there, front row, right at the very front. So every time a wrestler walked to the back, we got to look him right in the eyes and say whatever we wanted to him. And Booker T is walking to the back, and he's all staggered, and he's recovering from the match. And I go, right to his face, and he looks up like, what the fuck? And he keeps going. And I did the exact same thing right to JBL's face. And it was brilliant. Anyway. Sorry, complete aside, but
indeed. And then years later, he was a lead commentator on the.
Oh Christ! Years later, he was shit-faced every single show and talking shit about the show that's giving him a paycheck. So
hey, it's great work if you can find it. I've been doing it here for years for free. You know.
I know, right?
Anyway, on to happier topics. It's now time, and thank you for those questions dropped in there in the 8-Bit Ball Bag. And if you have a question for the 8-Bit Ball Bag, please drop us a line at 8bitpodcast@gmail.com because we're cheap. Anyway, with that having been said, we're going to move on to a segment that Razorfist decided it was just well overdue. Our most anticipated games thus far of 2017. Isn't that right, Mr. Fist?
Indeed. Because, over the coming year, I'm sure we're going to be talking more than our fair amount of shit about upcoming games and games that come out and whatever the fuck. And we certainly talk shit about games in the previous year. But to my mind, I'm sorry, what?
What choice had we?
I know, right? So I was thinking let's offset it before we delve into the nexus of negativity that is the industry in 2017 by talking about various games that we're looking forward to. So let's throw it to Alpha. What in the fuck are you looking forward to, a-hole?
How'd you know my last name?
I know, right?
That's Mr. A-hole to you. So I'm just going to... I mean, I've talked Persona 5 up to death. It is my most anticipated of the entire year. I've just been wanting this game forever, and every time that they show off new footage, shit looks crazier. The art style looks even more amazing. They're implementing so many new features and shit that you've never seen in previous games, and now fleshing it out beyond just the traditional tried and true tropes that they've had in past entries. Getting to hear like the dual audio voices that are out there, Japanese and English voices that will be available on release. A lot of the monster designs that look cool as fuck. I'm excited about it. I mean, any Shin Megami Tensei game gets a lot of attention from me, but Persona's where I got introduced to the series. Yeah. And by time this releases, which yes, it's been delayed and people bitch and moan about it, but you'd bitch and moan if you got an imperfect game. So shut the fuck up, because the game will live on for a long time thereafter, and you'll have plenty of time to go and fucking play it, and you have plenty of other games to play. But it's my number one. That's all there is to it. Faster turn-based combat, like that shit snaps into combat and snaps right the fuck out of it. That's something I love, because I love turn-based RPGs, but RPGs eat up so much time.
Yeah.
That, like, you take all those minutes off the clock, suddenly you're saving yourself plenty of time to go and do other shit, like bang slags. So also you can do that in the game too. You take your little 2D bitches and you go, you rough them up with your fucking nuts. It's great stuff. Great time by everybody. High school, everybody. Oh,
put an asymmetrical baby in their womb. For me, I think my number one... Well, okay, we're not sure when we're going to get this game, but I'm looking forward to System Shock 3, because that was announced early last year or something, so I'm fucking stoked for that, and it's going to be produced by Warren Spector. Warren Spector's not making Mickey Mouse games anymore. He's making old hybrid RPG, FPS-type games again, which is going to be brilliant. I can't wait to see what he does with it. He's been talking lately, giving a lot of speeches about fucking non-violent solutions to certain situations in video games, which is cool. Like, I feel like that needs to be in games more, and it needs to be a little more complex than just talking to someone and, that kind of shit. And I feel like if anyone can figure that mess out, it'll be Warren Spector. The other one I think we're all looking forward to is fucking Red Dead 2.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ, who doesn't want Red Dead 2?
I'm curious about the direction with the game. Big time, because it's Rockstar weaves together a fucking amazing story. And Red Dead Redemption, I don't give a fuck who you are, has one of the best stories.
Yeah.
In general. Like, I was...
Well, there was that matter with Bully, but we don't have to talk about that.
You know what? I honestly am a big fan of that. It's
story. I commend you for that, because that bored the piss out of me. That game did. I commend you.
It's GTA Light. That's really what it is. It's GTA Light, but since it's smaller, I think that they were able to focus on certain shit a bit more. We
got a Freudian slip in here.
You know what? If it's going to fit anywhere, it fits here. But Red Dead, I'm kind of curious though, because it looks like they had a lot, at least from what we've seen, a lot of emphasis on groups. So I'm kind of curious if online is going to play like a huge role in this.
Or maybe they'll try and bring GTA 5's you can control multiple characters system to a Red Dead game, which would be fucking really cool. I'd be interested to see how they'd fucking swing that, especially because the poster or whatever that was leaked looked like it was a shitload of characters. It was 7 people. So how would you switch between 7 different people? Could they even pull it off? If anyone could, it'd be Rockstar, because they take their sweet ass time. They have a pretty big team.
What I really want to know is, I mean, and I'm looking forward to that because I need to know what a swank ass apartment with cocaine looks like in the Old West. I really do.
No, right?
I don't know. In general, they had to have looked at Grand Theft Auto 5, which is now going on to be one of the best-selling games. It is one of the best-selling games ever, but it's selling so much and consistently it could rival everything.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I mean, what was the last thing I heard? And that was shortly after launch, was that it had hit like 15 or 16 million units sold, which is outlandish. And by now, that was when the fucking game came out, which was what, 2013? Was it? In the intervening years, it's piled on millions of units sold since.
Oh, dude.
Not to mention the fucking money they're making on that GTA Online shit.
Grand Theft Auto Online, I think, just had an update. It was either yesterday or today. And, I mean, I've got quite a few friends who play online. I don't care about it. It's not that it's bad. I just don't care about being online. But they have to be looking at that and going, okay, we need to continue this shit. And how can we continue to build off of that success? Because the groundwork is already laid out. The foundation's fucking settled. It's done. Now just carried over to something like Red Dead Redemption. The idea of me and a friend being on a horse and we're like each person has their own horse and then dragging people along through the fucking streets and shit, it sounds hilarious to me. And their world is so fucking big. Like, can you imagine going into like trick shooting with some friends?
Yeah.
It'd be like fuck, that one game from NES, black box game.
Wild Gunman?
Yeah, like it makes me think of shit like that if they started doing that. And then 1-2 Switch will have one less reason for me to give a fuck. Because I can just go into that and fucking do it, except for, 1-2 Switch, it's like, you don't need a screen though. And I'm like, but I already have like...
Yeah, but the graphics are so realistic. It's almost like real life.
It's super real life, but it's just somehow worse looking. Oh, terrible.
I don't know about you, because now you're talking about like the GTA Online and then having the Red Dead Online. And now people are starting thinking of a mashup. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait for like a horse driving a Dodge Charger in a street race. that would just be just the stuff.
Well, did you not play the online for Red Dead when that came out?
I did not. I've played, through the campaign and everything, but I did not.
I did a little bit. It was kind of interesting. It was almost MMO-ish, the way that they handled the multiplayer on Red Dead. It worked. It was really fun. It was one of the games that I probably played the most on online, at least on 360 back in the day. But it was handled pretty well. They're probably going to look pretty hard at I agree. They're probably going to look pretty hard at how GTA Online has taken off.
I'm wondering if this is going to end up being a prequel of sorts, because Red Dead Redemption was at the ass end of the cowboy era.
Yeah, it'll probably have to go back. Although, didn't they already release some slight details, and it sounded kind of like the same thing, where it was, we're towards the end of the Old West sort of deal. I could be wrong on that.
I personally haven't been able to keep up with it.
Or it could be a direct sequel like the very next year.
That's true. I mean, look, there were still cowboys and shit in the early 20s.
Yeah, that shit was going on for quite some time. I mean, you ask these fucking assholes in Nevada and Texas.
if they do anything...
let me walk down the street and ask someone.
Like, I want to play as the son If they decide to really like continue with the narrative as like a direct sequel, play as the son and go from there.
Yeah.
I mean, your pops was like one of the baddest motherfuckers in the West. And
better find another voice actor though. Jesus Christ, that kid. Paul. How can you do anything right, Paul? He was like the fast food clerk from The Simpsons.
Well, with this, just judging from all the characters that they have, if anything, they'd have to have him as an adult because running around is like a screechy fucking teen. No, that's why I'm excited about playing Persona 5. I mean,
that's something they would do in an early '90s PC game.
But it's, I don't know, man. I just want to get the game a bunch because it feels like it's been a million years since Red Dead Redemption came out.
2010. 2010, man.
It seems longer.
You know what? I'm still waiting for them to do a re-release of the game because it would fucking sell. It would guaranteed sell like a motherfucker. You put Grand Theft Auto 5 out, why the fuck not?
Yeah, no idea.
And it's not like Red Dead Redemption didn't sell. That shit sold. Like, it sold a lot.
So I think that would be I think you're onto something there. I think it'd be a wise move to put out, like, just reissue in HD like they did with GTA 5, Red Dead, right before they drop Red Dead 2, or do like a bonus pack kind of thing.
From a business standpoint, it makes a lot of sense because you figure if it did come out in 2010, we're talking about by the time it comes out, it's going to be like 7.5 years since the last one. That for some people, that's basically their fucking lifetime. You got kids who were 7 at the time who are now technically at the age that you want to be targeting them as a demographic for this kind of game. So you need to refamiliarize an entire fan base who might not know, and then get people reinvigorated who were already established fans. It's smart as fucking shit.
You made it sound like such a brainwashing operation. Refamiliarize the audience.
I was born in the right year.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Well, so Mr. Chaos, what's another
The
game?
one for me, and I am so sad to be saying this in 2017 that one of my anticipated games is one of my anticipated games from 2016 and 2015. That's The Legend of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild, which will just not come out ever. But now it looks like it may or may not be here. You notice I said for the Wii U.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting it on the Wii U because, God damn it, I've waited forever, so I might as well.
You're not getting it on Switch, really?
Well, I don't know how I feel about the Switch yet, but I'm getting it on the Wii U because my Wii U deserves it. God damn it!
It's so lonely over there.
It's not exactly lonely, but it's been promised something, and when you've been promised something for so long, God damn it, come hell or high water, someone needs to deliver.
I can see that.
I mean, Breath of the Wild, every time they show footage, man, I'm just like, how is this game as big as it is and doing it? Like, seeing the map of the game alone, and it just, what's it, Ocarina of Time? Like, if this is the map, like, it sat right here, and that was their entire game. And they were showing off other shit that was just like gargantuan in size. They were like, well, here's Skyrim. Well, it fits inside of us like several times. So,
I believe it. Skyrim's pretty tiny, honestly.
You know what? If they could tell me that our game is bigger than Daggerfall, they'll be like,
okay, that's not going to happen. But still, that's pretty crazy.
But also what scares me is, like, I'm afraid it's gonna break our show. Like, oh, fuck you, Breath of the Wild. I can't be on this podcast show.
I know. Fuck it.
Dude, Breath of the Wild, just everything about Breath of the Wild looks fucking good. Graphically, it looks good.
In a weird way, it's kind of what we've hoped for from Zelda ever since it went 3D, right?
Yeah.
Or I feel like we've all, since Zelda has come to 3D, maybe I'm wrong on this. I've always wanted to see a full-blown RPG of Zelda, like a full-blown party members, whatever. And this isn't quite that, but it's definitely a huge step toward that.
Dude, I've been dying for, and everybody can piss and moan about, oh, don't like this, don't like that, but it would just be an extra game, not like main core. We had Hyrule Warriors, which is just Dynasty Warriors, Legend of Zelda, and it was fucking fun.
Yep.
Nancy Pants, bitch fucking fans complained. Like, it's a fun game. You're complaining because it's not the same fucking thing over. If you gave me a turn-based Legend of Zelda RPG, I'd play the fuck out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
even a real-time Zelda RPG, just any kind of RPG. I feel like it's long-ass overdue. You got so many cool supporting characters. As you can clearly see from Hyrule Warriors, with the roster on there, all you have to do is take that and transplant it into an RPG environment with that open world, and the game makes itself.
Dude, they've had the series around for over 30 years. There's literally no limit to what they can do now.
Yeah.
And I say explore more, do more. People are always debating, is The Legend of Zelda an RPG? Well, fuck it. Give them an RPG. Do your regular Legend of Zelda action, adventure, dungeon crawling, multi-purpose, full genre bending and breaking games that they normally do, and then just have this off to the fucking side. It'll appease people, and it'll fucking sell, because it's Legend of Zelda, and it's Nintendo making an RPG, something that they always shy away from, but are really good at.
Yeah, they're fantastic. That's what blows my mind about Nintendo. They don't make RPGs very often, but when they do, it's it's Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. You know, it's a game people are still talking about in 27 goddamn teen. So what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like you're giving us Super Mario RPG and giving us things like Earthbound and Fire Emblem and shit, and then you're like, yeah, but you know, RPGs, do they really sell? I'm like, where the fuck have you been? I know that you have to see this shit eventually. Like, I'm gonna have
you heard about this PlayStation Vita thing?
But dude, oh my god, Legend of Zelda RPG. I kind of feel like Breath of the Wild in a lot of ways is more like an RPG.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of the other shit that they've done, which I'm happy about. That's one of the reasons why I dig this. I just want to see more footage of them, like Link talking to people in towns and shit, because I haven't really seen much of that, so I'm kind of curious. I mean, I've seen caravans of people, but that's hardly a town. It's like Ohio. So
Well, wait. But was there meth?
I don't know. I was always selling them stuff, so I'm assuming not. But
okay, then it may not have been just like Ohio.
It might have been like right on the cusp of Pennsylvania and Ohio. No, there would have been meth still.
Now, were there skinny red-haired folks?
There was a few.
See, it's possible then. It's possible, especially if there does turn out to have been some meth. You know, I mean, you know, because you know, people and their Patreons, you know, that's aside from the point. That's not important.
Yeah. And you know what? You know, when they're trying to buy meth, you won't see them for a while. Then they're back, bitches. So yeah, that's all. They're not dead, bitches, not yet.
But that's, you know.
Oh,
it seems almost silly to talk about Sonic Mania at this point.
Sonic Mania might possibly potentially get a physical release, maybe one day. Might.
And even then, it'll be fine.
Hey, you know, I'm fucking excited.
I am too, but you know, there's that meth discussion, and you know.
It just drags you down a bit, dude. Sonic Mania is going to be fucking cool. It's just,
I think so. And you know, you can call me names all you want, but for the Nintendo Switch, ARMS, you get to punch women in the face. I love it.
I like that. That's where you go with ARMS, like this game that goes for like this certain art style, and it's like, and then you punch bitches right in the face. Like, can I give him a voice like Sean Connery? It'd be even better. I'd fucking love it. Oh, it'd be so good.
Don't tell me I don't have good.
When you've got a game like ARMS where the only thing anyone wants to talk about is the art style. where it's just like, oh, you're made out of, they've got spring hands. They're made out of Laffy Taffy. They're made out of ribbons. So it's Kate Moss, the video game. But no.
I mean, with arms, I'm sticking with my guns before. Just made me go, I wish I was playing Punch-Out. That's all. Just give me Punch-Out. Why? And people are like, well, you want new IPs? I'm like, yeah, but I don't want them to be a watered down pre-existing IP. Just give me Punch-Out, man.
No, Punch-Out doesn't let you punch women. That's what's wrong with it.
Well, you know what? They can put women in there. It'd be cool. They could have like plaid shirts and big noses and hoop earrings and shit. It'd be great.
That's not true. Gabby J is in that game. You punch him way the fuck out.
Gabby J. I always like the way that he said his voice.
Yay!
You know what? Here, another.
I think Gabby J is the. I was saying boo-earns. I think it's actually the same person.
Dude, no, I can't. I want to get that as like my my fucking text notification sound and just yay. People can be sitting right going.
Hey, there's some talented people watching the program right now. They know how to do that. So you figure out how to do that. You shoot that over to Alpha Megasin as soon as you can.
Okay, here, positive thing coming out this year that I want for Nintendo Switch, and I'm getting the day it comes out. Woo! Bomberman R.
Oh, that looks to be a good one. Hopefully it doesn't suck. You know, it's not like Konami has anything to do with it.
Fingers fucking crossed, eyes crossed and shit, knock them back into place. It's a Bomberman game. I like Bomberman, and we haven't had a proper Bomberman game in forever. Is it exactly what I want out of a Bomberman game? No, because I'm a picky bitch, and there's always more. Because I really like the adventure games on N64 and on GameCube. But, you know, it's a straight-up Bomberman game. It's something to enjoy with your friends. And I don't give a shit. If you play Bomberman drunk with friends, you will have a good time.
And if you don't love Bomberman, that means you have no friends.
That's on, yeah. Yeah, no.
Oh, I didn't even mention the #1 game I want, and that's going to be going into beta in the next couple of weeks, and that's BattleTech, the great big PC game that's going to be dropping here. Giant stompy robots, tactical fucking military action. It's going to be badass. I can't fucking wait for that game. But yeah, the closed beta starts in early March, apparently, they say. So just a few weeks here.
Dude, I was actually going to text you the other day about this. It was more gonna be like a eulogy or something, but so my friend Sean, he hits me up and he's like, "Hey, I want to play Warhammer."
Yeah,
I was like, dude, I can't even afford games, man. They're too expensive.
Oh
like,
man, don't you dare jump down the Warhammer rabbit hole, man. You will be tomorrow blowing trannies under an overpass.
He says this. He's just like, well, I talked to Jared, and Jared says that he just doesn't have the time to because the baby on the way and school and shit. I was like, yeah. And he was like, you're my last hope. He was like, I'll make you a deal. And I'm like, what do you mean you'll make me a deal? He's like, I'll make you a deal. I'll buy you a whole fucking starter set. It's over $100. Just play. And I was just like, all right. So I'm done. I'm dead. I'm sorry. My wallet was like this.
It's gonna. We're just for the remainder of the season. The part of Alpha Omega Sin will be played by a puppet. We will not be seeing him for very long.
Wait, here, hold up. Here we go.
Yeah, there we
go. Hi, everybody. Alpha Omega Sin here. Haha. So.
Why do you have a metal Jesus plushie? What's
someone said that and I was like, really? No, someone thought it was Angry Joe.
I would have been angry at them.
I was like, what the fuck, man? But this was
not fat enough.
When extremely like cute girls from England decide to make you things and they come out like this, I thought the fucking world of this. Very fucking cool. I guess I'll go in a different direction away from Nintendo. South Park Fractured Butthole.
Nice.
That's okay. So, did you guys play Stick of Truth?
I did. It was great.
Mr. Chaos, did you get to enjoy the Stick of Truth?
I got to watch someone play part of it, but I'm not a huge South Park fan in the first place.
Yeah, me either. But it's still a fun game. You know, if you like,
I enjoyed the art. The art looked very nice. So
if you like Mario and Luigi games or Super Mario RPG, you know, it's like a casual RPG that you can just kind of pick up and play.
They literally took Paper Mario and then they skinned it alive, and then they're like South Park everything. And some people might try to convince you, well, that's a bad thing. No, it's not. That's a good thing.
No,
they fucking nailed it. It looked like, if I took any screen cap at all, and I'm not going to be one to always just fucking jizz my goddamn shorts over a game's visuals, but when you're talking about representing a show, this looks like any image from it could have been the TV show.
Yeah, it was brilliant, and it was good to see too, because Obsidian, a lot of times they have this problem where they overshoot and they try and get too ambitious and then they shit the bed. With South Park Stick of Truth, it was like they knew exactly what they wanted to do. They kept everything within that scope. They didn't try and get too big or too ridiculous. They executed it on time. I don't think they had to delay it either.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker, if you saw any interviews with them, and a lot of times you see creators, they try to play shit up, you know, because it's their creation, so they have to be excited. These motherfuckers seem genuinely enthusiastic about everything because they got to take their skill set, which is being funny and creative, and put it into something that's interactive. Yeah. So now
they also didn't have to deal with anybody from Comedy Central, which I understand is a lot of fun not dealing with people from Comedy Central.
Well, I feel like they don't have to deal with them nearly as much because if South Park was like, well, we'll just quit making the show, Comedy Central would be like, well, it was fun being a network. So, right? But dude,
and now back to reruns of That's My Bush.
The new one, it's just them as like their superhero alter egos running around and going and doing shit. So you had the first one, which was very D&D fantasy RPG. Like now you've got this one, which is like Marvel DC type shit. Yeah. And that's
so they're gonna spoof the fuck out of modern shitty superhero movies, and there's gonna be some digs at Batman v Superman. They're gonna go full ham on that shit.
I'm hoping for a part where there's a gigantic blue character and you just see dick and balls swinging. Because we already had the part in the original where you're running around with the underpants gnomes or whatever the fuck they are. And then when you're doing that battle and you have to dodge the gigantic balls because like you're on the bed with a couple who's fucking and then it's just big hairy testicles and you're like, whoa, whoa. And it's one of the funniest fucking things, dude. I mean, you eventually get to go to an abortion clinic.
Yes.
And I felt like in a lot of ways, it channeled all of my just depraved, crude humor in a way that I was just shit-eating grin from start to fucking finish. And I was just like...
you could hear Sarkeesian's head explode from across the border in Canada.
I feel like at certain points, like all servers for Tumblr were just like, we've got, wait, oh no, we've gone to plaid. No, we went to shit to bed. No, and it just collapsed. Like, it was pissing off people everywhere, and I'm just like, it was good stuff. So this one is just going to continue that, and you know what? They don't even have to add anything except for just more story, more characters, just funny. That's it, because the main core game worked really fucking well and was super happy with that. So that game, another one I just want to scoop up immediately. Fucking loved it, man. Now, I hope that shows up on Nintendo Switch, too, because the original never was on, like, Wii or Wii U or anything.
Probably a little too crude. I don't know. We'll see.
See, that's an even bigger reason for it to show up on there. If I was Nintendo, I'd be hitting up any of the companies. I'd be like, Namco, give us Splatterhouse, re-release it. Just give us that. Just something that's like, why would you do this? And an HD re-release of Mad World on Wii because it's long fucking overdue.
Well, you have to first ask the question: can you play this game during a hipster roof party? That's the question, you know. If the commercials are any indication, you have to wear skinny jeans and have a scarf in fucking May, and you have to be having a Pabst Blue Ribbon party on the roof. That's
Well, then you've totally nailed the ironic South Park audience.
you know.
Well, one of the things that I always think about when I was watching all that shit is, so they're all out there partying, and I'm like, man, you guys, like, when I'm getting fucking shit-faced, I don't even want to be near that kind of stuff. And do not hand drunk people expensive electronics like that. Why would you do that?
On a roof? On a roof!
Like, one, don't take drunk people to a roof. You have people like me eventually where somebody decides that they're gonna, like, fuck with the music that's playing. I can't have that shit. The drunker I get, the more I need to control. Like, I actually need to control the music. It's not like, oh, ha, ha, ha. No, I need that. I'll push a motherfucker off. And if they have a Nintendo Switch in their hand, you just lost your Nintendo Switch because you gave it to the stupid fucks in on the ledge that controlled the music and turned it into something I hated. Like Avenged fucking Sevenfold was playing. No.
Of course, he's already, you know, it was already Bill and Melinda Gates, because this guy's got like a mansion on one side of the country and then he flies to another mansion on an opposite side of the country to have a hipster roof party. So, you know, if one of the hipsters falls off the fucking roof, he could just have them replaced by an android and pretend they never fucking died or some shit. He works for Wayland Yutani. You know?
I liked it a lot because I just want them to all just, like, take what they were holding, drop it, and then just start going, white people! Da, 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 because it would have been pretty fucking perfect. Yeah. God, what other games you gents looking for? Chaos. What other da 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 games you looking for? Da 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 da.
I don't know of very many da 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 games, unfortunately. Da, da, da. One that I was surprised to find out. I found out about yesterday was from the makers from Level 5, the makers of the Professor Layton games, is coming. Lady Layton, the Millionaire Aerodon's Conspiracy. And when they said they were giving up on Layton games, they were fucking lying. But this is interesting. It's, I guess, going to be a little less puzzle-based, which is kind of a bummer. But they haven't really said much about it. It's to be now, it's to be released sometime in 2017 for, I guess, the 3DS and I guess mobile. But just sounded really interesting. I being a fan of the Professor Layton series myself.
I just recently procured a copy of Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright.
Mm-hmm. I've yet to play that myself.
I own 0 Professor Layton games. I played them on an emulator. I thought they were all right. I didn't dislike them or anything. It's just that when it's like constant puzzles and shit, I get bored.
Some of them are pretty beastly.
There was more than once where I was like, you know what? I know I have the mental faculties to be able to handle this, but I'm a lazy cunt, so I'm just going to look it up on YouTube. So I did that. Was much nicer that way. With the Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright one, I'm a big fucking Phoenix Wright mark. Through and through in every conceivable way, so I had to get it. It's just that game's been fucking hard to find. They made like 10 copies, and they were like, "That's enough for everybody." And then I came across number 8, so I was happy. Go me! But so is this just is this a character in Professor Layton, or is this an entirely?
I believe this is. It's not clear, but her name is Catrio Layton, and I think it suggested that she's Professor Layton's daughter. Professor Layton's sons already got their own spin-off. Hold on, I have it on here. What the hell was the fucking thing called? Don't go away now. Real organized podcast, as you can see.
The lie. Hey, you know what? I've done that shit so many times. I'm like, I'll look stuff up on the phone live.
Yeah, right now. I mean, you guys ain't paying for this shit. Hold on one second. This is.
You got to realize, everybody, we have a budget of jack and shit.
This is the Layton Brothers. So the Layton Brothers Mystery Room on iOS and Android, as far as I know. So they've already got their own game, and now Professor Layton's daughter, like, for solving puzzles all the time, he has time to make a lot of kids, and so that's this one. I guess this is going to take a swipe at a more casual audience, but we'll see.
That's the ultimate puzzle to try to solve: is how does he have the time to keep on having all these babies pushed out, and how is he?
Not to mention he's got this strange little kid hanging around with him in the first place. That's not his kid.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's like Batman. He just like picks them up and it's just like, fuck it, let's come along. Sweatshops are illegal, but this is okay if I call him like I don't know, an employee or a partner, whatever.
Apprentice, I think.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That sounds less.
I think they call that grooming.
I mean, eventually you need them to take care of you because your own bastard.
Well, it's also been a form of sidestepping slavery charges for the last 200 years. It's a great thing. It really is.
We call that Walmart too.
Yeah.
Let's see. So,
or
that's also exploiting the elderly.
Yeah.
and the disabled. Don't forget.
No,
Goodwill's doing that.
And as I found out, also a great way to exploit the transsexuals. So good for them.
No, that's pretty much all of Hollywood trying to go and do that.
Are you gonna make your fucking flannel shirts joke again?
No. I was gonna make jokes at the expense of everybody in Hollywood pandering to demographics that aren't actually interested, but because they complained the loudest, they think that they're willing to go and shell out money for their products, but they weren't.
Yeah, but enough about Marvel Comics.
Oh, here, fuck it. Dragon Quest Heroes 2. Don't even need to say much about it because it's just Dragon Quest Heroes 1, but with more characters. So that's all. Yay! The first one's fucking awesome. I think that it's the best Dynasty Warriors spin-off type thing that they've done. Much more RPG than all the other past ones. Yes, even better than Hyrule Warriors. For those out there that don't have a stick up their fucking ass at severing their goddamn brain. It is a lot of fun. And if you're a long-time Dragon Quest fan, like myself, then you'll get a kick out of it because, I don't know, there's lots of humor to be had because it's non-canon. So they give a lot less fucks. So it means they get to have fun. Remember that, everybody? Member fun? So any other shit we want to go and splooge into this bag of 2017 games since there's lots?
I would throw Underworld Ascendant out, which is the sequel to Ultima Underworld. It's technically the third Ultima Underworld, but they're not using the Ultima name, so it's kind of a reboot at the same time. And it's being made by Other Side Studios, which is essentially Looking Glass Studios again. They just got everybody from Looking Glass, basically, except for Ken Levine, but who wants him? He's making shitty BioShock games.
I can say...
But no, you got them back. They're making Underworld Ascendant. It looks really, really cool. They're doing all the old Looking Glass stuff where they're simulating all the physics in engine. They're doing all it just looks amazing, and I can't wait to fucking play it. The other one I would do is I dig games about the Crusades because there's not a lot of them. They're going to be doing, of course, For Honor, but the other one, what the fuck was it named? I had it on an article pulled up here. Oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance. That was the one that's going to be coming out this year.
That one.
Yeah, I can't fucking wait for that one either. So yeah, For Honor looks kind of like baby's first Crusades game. I mean, they got Vikings and samurais and shit in it, so it's goofy, multicultural Ubisoft vision of the past, kind of like Battlefield 1. But it should be interesting.
I don't know. For Honor, the one thing I did like from what I had seen, that game does not hold back on the violence. They were like, yeah, let's just go all the fucking. There's people getting fucking spears through the throat, blood just curling out, decapitations, delimbing. It's like, all right, that's okay. But apparently, it's more focused online than it is offline. So that was not expected. It was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So
it kind of looked that way. Yeah, it kind of looked that way when we finally saw gameplay of it. You know, they kind of faked us out with the initial reveal, and then later on it was like, oh, it's pretty much just an online kind of multiplayer thing. So
when I heard everybody talking about the beta, I was like, what? Wait, what do you mean? And I'm off in my single player world, and I'm just like, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, sorry about that. I guess I'll add in one last one because I got a stupid fucking list in front of me. Berserk and the Band of the Hawk.
Nice.
One, Berserk is fucking badass as shit.
Yes, it is.
It's literally one of the most metal manga anime ever in existence, and it's been going on for fucking years. This, and again, just got done talking about Dragon Quest Heroes, Hyrule Warriors. Guess what? Koei Tecmo, right back into it. And the last time I had seen a Berserk game was it Guts Revenge or whatever on Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's a good game, it's got faults in it that are hard to look past because they're related to Control. But everything else in it was fucking rock solid. Good music, good voice acting, great graphics for the time, especially on Dreamcast. Really overlooked. They've never fucked with it ever again until this. And god damn, it looks out of fucking control. Very stylish. That was something I was kind of surprised by, was they were going for a bigger like focus on the aesthetic with it, which makes sense just considering what it's based off of. I don't know what all story arcs they're going to be pulling from it, or if they're just like creating their own within it. That much I haven't read into it because I don't want to ruin shit for myself. But it looks fucking awesome.
I'm just excited that there's an anime adaptation that isn't a fucking shitty Dragon Ball Z fighting game, you know, or like a subpar Fist of the North Star game that we don't talk about anymore. But
dude, a lot of them do end up turning into fighting games, and what's fucked up about it is like I love Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's the shit. Dragon Ball Z I grew up on and got me into the series, but I love it less than I love Dragon Ball. GT, what's that? And now we got Super. I never understood why the fuck we can't just, like, Xenoverse is probably like 1 and 2 are closest that we've gotten to getting an actual console RPG Dragon Ball series, and I like that, but their fucking fighting mechanic in Xenoverse is so fucking shallow. I mean, so fucking shallow.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for a lot, but if you're going to present it as a fucking fighting game, make it into a fighting game. I know you can. You get lots of things right, except for that. And that was one of the only things that turned me off. Oh, and the fact that they were lazy and they took a bunch of shit from Dragon Ball Online and basically just like fucked it real good in whatever hole that they could, and they just took all that content. They're like, well, no one really played Dragon Ball Online. Let's move it over there because it's wasted. So yeah,
talk about Dragon Ball Online in the fucking 2000s. Talk about striking while the iron is frozen. Jesus Christ! If you release that shit in '99, that's one thing. You know what I mean? Like fucking, that would have been the biggest shit ever. But fucking, when did they release that shit?
It was somewhere in like mid 2000s or some shit. And I'm you said striking while the iron is frozen. I'm gonna say striking the iron while it's Play-Doh, because it just went in, and then they're like, "Welp," and they're just gonna sit there, and I'm like, "That was Dragon Ball Online." Everybody just gonna sit there going, "Well, that was okay."
Yeah, it's like kicking Rosie O'Donnell in the cunt. It's just squelch. But anyways, it's good.
And it's like, you know what? Just cut it. Cut the servers. Cut the leg. You don't want either. There's no use.
You'll lose it to gangrene otherwise.
It's spreading. It's spreading. Cut it now. Cut it now. You can always get a cyborg leg, but you can't get a cyborg dong yet. We are not there.
If you'll forgive me, it's getting I'm having trouble transitioning out of kicking Rosie O'Donnell in the cunt. That's.
Oh, dude, can you imagine that?
Because I imagine it like it would catch you like the T-1000 would, you know, and then it would just turn into its fist and hands, and her cunt would have you.
I feel like you'd have to, from that point forward, refer to whatever part of your leg was stuck in there as dumpster baby, because it's like it's just a disgusting. It'd be like jam and jelly everywhere, and.
I feel like we just wrote the origin story for her girlfriend's face. But anyway, let's continuing on.
I feel like that poor bitch, she's like the Joker from when the Joker cut his face off and then he was wearing his own face, which was like had flies and it was rotting. I feel like that's what she's actually doing, like when she walks around. Same premise, same idea, just more smell-o-vision. So there's that. So yeah, 2017 games, right? Am I right? We have our high notes.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Fuck it. E3's open to the public. Isn't that a shame?
Yeah, E3's open to the public.
This morning on if you're watching this in the future, which chances are, if you're a decent person, you are. This morning, Monday, February the 13th, 2017. Tickets released. 15,000 tickets sold to the general public, or open to be sold to the general public at 9 a.m. this morning Pacific time, because they have that shit right here in California. Yippee for fucking me. And the first 1,000 tickets being sold for $150, and after that the price will go up to $250. I'm gonna color this whole fucking conversation before we start talking about getting kicked in the cunt to say that this is a tacit admission that it's they got room to spare at the E3. And if you watched it last year and the year before that and the year before that and the year before that, they could have been probably making some money instead of pretending that this is a fucking press conference.
Yeah.
But how about that?
They tried to close it off several years back and make it like, you know, because developers were complaining and publishers were complaining, oh, it's turning into too much of a dog and pony show. And the experiment, what did it last? Like 2-3 years where it was completely closed, completely. It absolutely went up like a fart in church. It went up like a wet fart in church. Like it was fucking, people stopped going. It was just a joke, and it was way too reserved. You know, E3 is a hype fest, and we all know it fucking is. That's all it is. It's every year where you inevitably have that moment after E3, you know, where everybody kind of wakes up like out of the drunken stupor, kind of like on the day after New Year's, where it's like, oh fuck, we were excited for that. Like, what the shit was that? You know, but the day of, everybody's kind of in the afterglow, and I feel like turning it into a closed press conference kind of deal was sort of counterintuitive to the fundamental nature of it. It's just a hype fest, folks. That's all it is. So you might as well steer into the shit skid, because it doesn't get any better than this.
Well, and it goes to show that all these fucking game designers who think they're artists, go ahead and live the nice, quiet life of an artist where people don't give a damn.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, with things like this, all you have to do is look around at many of the conventions, including Upstart's year one, and they are bringing.
Are they now?
Did we lose Alpha?
I think the Bilderbergs got a hold of Alpha. He was saying some positive things about Upstart gaming conventions. And they said, fuck this guy. There will be no talk.
There we go. We got Alpha back.
He's back.
Okay.
He has returned. He came to us. He's alive.
Man, I thought it was like it was like watching something live on CNN.
Oh my god. No, it was like Bernie Sanders saying something bad about CNN and then cutting off his fucking feed.
So okay, were
you gonna badmouth Google? You were gonna badmouth Google, weren't you?
No, but if I'm gonna get assassinated live on the Hate Bit podcast, I dig that. So okay. A lot of the conventions recently have all not only been doing well, but it makes sense for them to want to capitalize because they've got the namesake. Lots of people pay attention to the shit. Nobody can go, though. So it's like, do you got a media pass or are you part of the industry? No? Well, that's tough fucking titties. Now, this being there, they can make a lot more money off of it. This gives a lot more incentive to developers and publishers to go and put stuff out there. Because if you're getting tens of thousands of people through the door, which they will, and they're checking this shit out firsthand, that right there is the easiest marketing in the entire world. And we already know for a fact that E3 has lost plenty of people who don't want to bother anymore because they can do their own shit.
Yep. Or
they just don't want to bother at all because they just don't fucking care. Well, this kind of changes that. Look at PAX. PAX went from just jack shit to now games are being unveiled there.
Yeah, it's the number 2 show. It's the number
PAX
2
is
show.
Spreading like a case of the fleas.
Yeah, it's
or like massive. A case of the flu at PAX.
It's PAX flu. Oh god, it's bad. To me, all you have to do is look at something like that and realize that you are not capitalizing and you're a fucking fool. And the people who run E3 already know that they're a fucking fool. It's just that when you have no mirrors in the house, you never have to fucking reflect. Yeah. So this is one of those situations where just bring in the fucking people I mean, they want to buy your shit. They want to see your shit. You want to fucking impress people? Let them see it in fucking person. And you know how many motherfuckers will cover this shit on social media, on YouTube, on their own personal websites, on the websites that they're fucking co-working on and shit? Lots.
Yeah, to me, it's just an admission, you know, we tried to be serious. Video game industry ain't serious. It's a fucking hype fest, all right? You look at how games are reviewed. You look at the whole fucking press hype cycle. You look at the way they're advertised. Video games nowadays are going to sell on hype or they're going to sell on fucking nothing. So you better goddamn steer into the hype and do it right. Do you think, here's the question I would pose to you. Nintendo made the decision several years back to stop hosting a press conference at E3. Do you think this incites them to, along probably with the death of their CEO recently, do you think with the new regime and everything, this incites Nintendo to bring a press conference back to E3?
I think this would definitely be an an opportunity for them to ramp up their presence and make their E3 present or their E3 presence, you know, definitely more widely known. It's also something that they seem like they've been trying to grasp for the last few years, because they've always had, or in the last few years since doing away with the traditional press conference, putting more of an emphasis on hands-on approach to, you know, their products right there on the E3 floor. What better an opportunity to marry these two ideas, and hopefully the ESRB, well, let's not pretend, you know, like they're hurting for cash, or maybe they are, I don't know, actually, off the top of my head. So to make a turn back to a traditional press conference, I don't think so, but this will definitely be an opportunity to try what they've been practicing in malls throughout North America for the last few years.
I think that Nintendo should. It's weird because I think that they should, and I also think that they shouldn't. I think that they shouldn't because I've seen them do retarded shit whenever they're on stage. I think that they should at the same exact point, because it's not just the media and it's not just fans who pay attention to this shit. Shareholders and investors watch this shit like a fucking hawk, because they are then awaiting the response. They want to see, okay, what's going on? We need to see all this stuff out there, and we need to see it prove itself. Well, this would be a good way for them to do that. I mean, I think Nintendo is more than capable of just going out there and saying, here's games X, Y, and Z. Here's new hardware A, B, and C. And that's all. I mean, they don't need to have any of the goofy shit. I guarantee
you this much. Nintendo on any given year, even on a fucking slow year, would have more to show than fucking Ubisoft, who have no business having a goddamn press conference. I've said it from the beginning. Every single year, it's a fart. There's no point to fucking Ubisoft having a press conference.
Don't you talk about Aisha Tyler that way.
I'm sorry. A few shitty Aisha Tyler punchlines are not worth the price of admission.
Wait, Razor Fist. Hold on. That wounds me, man. I don't know how I can go through an E3 without watching them show off Just Dance over and over again. I need that press conference so I can see people go up there and just jiggle and gyrate when I want games. But please, we can't have that taken away. We need that.
No, we also need far more Aisha Tyler, of course.
We need to devote 45 straight fucking minutes to a snowboarding game.
You know what? That game, I felt so bad for that game. No joke. Like, I felt bad for it just looking at it. It was like, this needed like 2 minutes. Just show off like cool snowboarding. And then that's all. And then they're like, no, we got like an hour and a half, man. Let's rock this shit. I'm like, stop. No. and they fucking went for it. But no, Nintendo should be up there doing their fucking thing, because they've got the games to fucking show off. And I mean, look at something like Shenmue 3, for example. Shenmue has always been like an underground cult fan base. That's all there is to it. People love it, but it's not known to people outside of gamers.
Yeah.
Ever. And Shenmue 3 went out there. Yeah. Every motherfucker all of a sudden was paying attention, and Shenmue 1 and 2 prices just suddenly went way the fuck up, and interest went all the fuck out. And that was because they were showing off on E3.
Yeah, I mean, if EA can have a press conference essentially devoted to unveiling that year's FIFA game, I think we can get Nintendo on a goddamn stage to say we're gonna have Mario this holiday. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I would
it's
like
pretty
that
reasonable.
Not just that, but they're all about, hey, and after this, go out there and try out our fucking games. So it's not just us going and blowing smoke up your ass. You can go out there and fucking enjoy it for yourself and then blow smoke up each other's asses. Whatever the fuck you want to go and do around a fucking hookah, have fun. Just play our fucking games. They're amazing. But I can see it. I can see it happening. Just I hope they do. Because I want to see more of a hype machine. Nintendo, if they want to get behind marketing, this is one of the ways to fucking do it. It may not be a commercial, but it kind of is.
Of course it is.
And besides, we don't have Space World anymore. So there's that. Space World died. Love you, Space World. I think I'm the only person who gives a shit about Space World. I do miss it. I'm not joking. I know it was all Nintendo related shit, but I mean it was still something, you know. Tokyo Game Show, E3, Space World. Was there other ones? Because I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah,
They've done a lot of that sort of thing, you know, indoctrinating youth. They definitely specialized that, you know, in the late '80s.
But do you guys
Then
think
there was Power Fest? Don't forget about Power Fest.
I completely forgot about Power Fest.
Because you're not as old as I am.
Well, okay, so with all the people showing up to this, do you think that it's going to end up like growing into something bigger and better? Like, will we start seeing, like, if they get lots of people through the door and even more people trying to get through the door, could we start seeing more than one E3 because it'll start being treated like an actual convention?
I want you to understand that millions of people every year barrel through the doors of McDonald's. Has that ever gotten any better?
Yeah, no shit. I see it at most, I'll tell you this much. At most, I see it turning into kind of a video game Comic-Con, which is kind of, you know, just
That's
a great big hype fest.
Comic-Con is slowly being overtaken by game companies too, because comics, what the fuck are comics?
Yeah. Well, and it's slow. It's pretty much nowadays Comic-Con is just, we roll out every vaguely sort of kind of comic related movie imaginable. I mean, we had I Am Legend unveiled there. It's not based on a comic. It's just vaguely kind of sort of superhero related. You know what I mean? They just sort of unveil the latest Will Smith movie at fucking Comic-Con every year.
Or they have a panel with the Big Bang Theory people, a show about people who like comics.
Exactly.
It's such a thing now to be a fan of people who are a fan of a thing that used to have people who were fans of things.
The idea that Big Bang Theory is there should let you know that they're like a million light years beyond it being mainstream.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Big Bang Theory is just, everybody already knows. It's just embarrassing. Like, it's and having them there, for fuck's sake. Yeah. I don't know. I can see them doing this like twice a year, if anything. Like, if this goes up really well, I can see them doing like 2, just because they'll be like, well, let's go and do one on the East Coast or do one in a different country.
Yeah, I almost see it as having kind of the rubber band principle, though. E3 has done this a lot. It's kind of vacillated between being a great big convention type atmosphere where it really gets away from showing the video games and more into hype. You know what I mean? There have been several years where that's been the case, where it's just like, well, we don't have many games to show you this year, but PS2 presents Snoop Dogg. You know what I mean? There were several years in the mid-2000s especially that were just like that, you know? They had the fucking red carpet and shit, and nobody was talking about games. The games got lost in the fucking shuffle, and video game companies complained. So probably we're just getting ready for another correction like that, where we're going to get to that super... We're going to get back to the point where Microsoft's going to be having fucking Cirque du Soleil routines on fucking stage and shit. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, hey, if it is open to the general public, who knows? One day, maybe, if we get a budget of $1, we could have the Hate Bit podcast live from E3 podcast, where you can tell that we probably battered a few people prior to recording. But
hey, and you can and you can do it. You can do it. Send an email to info@esrb.com, and I'll bet you I'll bet you we can make it happen.
Yeah, well, me and Chaos are already in the neighborhood. We could just grab that alpha puppet.
Yeah. the angry Joe puppet, or
Yeah, but then we'll have to get like a Yell Chaos and a Razor Fist puppet for the East Coast version of the show.
Yes, simulcast.
I think it'd be cute. We just set them up and then just have subtitles everywhere.
Wait a minute, are you wearing Undertaker spats? Are those Undertaker spats? Oh, okay, never mind. Those are just jeans, I guess.
Just jeans.
You got so excited about the spats.
Well, you don't see spats often. Scrooge McDuck died, so spats are
Oh, good.
So cute.
We're gonna have to get official 8-bit spats.
Yeah.
Have you sit up there like a parrot?
I feel like someone just took an Undertaker plushie and put a fucking hat on it.
They're like, there we go. That's Alpha Omega Sin now. That's pretty good. I can walk a lot better than the Undertaker though. So and also I'm in shape. Love you, Undertaker. Really do.
You can carry Brock Lesnar a lot better.
I don't know about all of that.
Yeah, that's. I don't know. I wouldn't get winded in 2 minutes though.
Ooh.
So, I mean, oh, by the way, did you guys? Dude, I love the fact that everybody was getting driven down to the ring during Royal Rumble. Mark Henry, Big Show. I forgot if Brock Lesnar. They had quite a few, like all the big dudes. They were getting driven down there because, I mean, I thought WrestleMania had a long entrance. This was like, okay, we got 2 football fields for you to run down real quick, and like eventually you're just gonna have a marching band because each person's walking a minute apart from each other.
Yeah.
So,
and Mark Henry went through like 2 subway footlongs by the time he got to the ring.
Imagine if Adam Rose had competed in the Royal Rumble this year. It would have taken a fucking month for them to get there.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the entire party bus of people, they eventually just put them down there and just like, all right. And they're like, we're partying. We're
like, hey, Jeff, hurry up. I'm sorry. The hot dog suit is heavy.
The dude in the bunny suit, man, I'd feel bad for him. That shit would be fucking brutal. Like he'd be dead. It'd just be bones. Like when they take off the bunny hat, and they're just like, oh my god, it's dead. Not what we wanted at this year's Royal Rumble, but that's what we got. Dead bodies.
But with that having been said, E3 this June the 13th through the 15th at the Los Angeles Convention Center. And I think we'll talk about this next week as to whether or not those tickets are still available, because I wouldn't be surprised if they're already gone. Dude, especially with the way they're scalping these fucking NES Classics things. This is just a matter of time.
Well, the way any fucking shitty Let's Player on YouTube has to go to E3 for some reason. They're gonna sell out pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, and then you'll have everybody broadcasting on Periscope all at the same time.
Because what would we all do without PewDiePie's penetrating insights on E3? I mean, Jesus Christ.
I personally just can't wait to see eBay filled up. Like, I should just pull up eBay right now and look at it. But I know that one of the years I tried going to PAX, I was like, I'll go get a ticket, and then they were all fucking gone. Like the minute that they went up, was the minute that they were all gone, and then there was hundreds, not a couple, hundreds of listings on eBay. I'm like, good job, everybody.
Yep.
Way to go. So fucking stupid. So yeah, E3.
E3. And with that, that's it for the 8-Bit Podcast. Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies. Well, let's face it, the ladies in here used to be gentlemen, and that's okay. They're living life their own way. I want to remind each and every one of you before we get out of here to check us out on your social medias. Give us a sub right here on YouTube. Also follow us on the Facebook, on the Twitter, on Instagram, and all that other faggoty shit. I am your intrepid host, Yale Chaos. Joining me has been the man from Pennsylvania, Alpha Omega Sin.
Nope, I don't got nothing. I was gonna make a long fart sound, but then Razor Fist would never get to say goodbye. So just
you have to save him for last so he can do the long fart noise.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, in the next week, long fart noise. You heard it right here.
So much sprittle all over the beard, it gets to be a mess.
And with that, and the prettiest man in Phoenix, Arizona, Razor Fist.
God fucking speed, folks. Yeah. Let's fucking get the fuck out of here. I don't give a shit.
With that having been said, you guys are a bunch of fucking assholes, and I bid you.
Yeah, we read your